All right, I'd like to call to order the Monday, April 1st meeting of the City of Monona Finance and Personnel Committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Kitzlar.
Here.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here
Alder Wood is absent.
and excused. Let's see, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 18th meeting?
Move to approve.
And I will second. Did you have any
Nope.
corrections or additions? I think I had, hang on just a minute, let me just open this up. I think I had one thing I wondered about. On page 3. And Mark, maybe you can answer this. Yeah, it says, the city's credit rating is hurt if the fund balance is used for one-time costs.
That's
Now,
not
that
true.
isn't really the case, is it? Its credit record is hurt if we go below the required percentage, is that? It's under,
I thought, yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
Yeah, we can use it for one-time cost. They prefer that. They
that's
don't
what we
like for.
usually do, yeah, so we probably want to change.
Hurts us if they use it for ongoing cost. I think
Yeah,
that's
I think
probably what
that's
it's supposed to be.
So do we want to change that? It should say if it's used for ongoing
Yeah.
costs.
So, yeah, if you keep on using it every year for an operating item, it just
Okay.
depletes your fund balance.
Which is why we don't do that.
That's why we don't do that.
So I guess that's the only correction I had. So Andrew, you didn't have anything? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as amended, say aye.
Oh, got it right.
Aye. Motion passes. There are no appearances. There is no unfinished business. Under new business, we have one item, 6A, discussion and consideration of paid family leave policy. And Leah was going to fill us in on that.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. So this is the sort of vetted draft that has gone through City Administrator Gatto and myself and Alder Kitzlar, and has also been reviewed by City Attorney Cole. So I'll just sort of hit the highlights, and then you can ask questions or discuss as you wish. So the whole purpose of this policy is for employees to care for and bond with a new child. And so it does not include people who are acting as surrogates or sperm donors or any sort of temporary welfare placements like foster kids or guardianships. It's just for a newly born child or a newly adopted child. And it would offer 2 weeks of paid leave for all permanent employees. So that's permanent full-time and permanent part-time employees, which are generally employees who earn paid leave time. Hourly employees not included, paid on-call employees not included, so just permanent employees. For union employees, the intent of the council, I believe, was to offer this policy for all non-represented and represented employees. We do need to be aware, though, that this policy, in regards to union contracts, is going to be subject to mandatory bargaining because it involves wages, hours of work, and working conditions.
Okay.
So we can certainly go to the unions and say, this is our intent with this policy. We would like to offer you this policy. They can say, great, we'd like the policy. But if they want to bargain over this policy in the future, they will be able to do so.
So if the council approves this, is it automatically then applied to the union members, or does it wait until they bargain?
No, they would
Or could
vote
we-
on whether they want to accept the policy.
And they can do that now, even though we just approved
Yes.
an
Did-
agreement with them?
What, a memorandum of understanding was what it would be?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it would
okay.
become, an MOU in their contract somehow.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Makes sense, though.
Yep.
Okay. As with the FMLA, employees will need to be employed for 1 year to be eligible for this policy. And any leave that they take will run concurrently with FMLA, so this leave is not in addition to the 12 weeks of federal FMLA that they get. It would run.
It's just that 2 additional weeks would be paid.
Correct.
Okay.
The policy allows that the leave must be taken all at once, so 2 weeks all at once, or it could be taken in 2 blocks of 1 week each. but no sort of intermittent, one day here, or using it to sort of work part-time for several weeks. It'll need to be taken in blocks. It also, it can't be taken until after the birth or adoption occurs,
Okay.
and then it must be used within 6 months of the birth or adoption. So any leave not used within that 6 months will be forfeited. And then the leave can only, this paid parental leave can only be used once in a 12-month period.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Andrew?
One of the questions I had actually was that with that last point, when do we, and we probably talked about this, when do we start that timer again for the 12-month period? Or when do we, is it when they come back from that 2 weeks and then that 12 months starts? Or do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. I guess that's a good question. I guess we need to think about
I mean,
that.
We should probably make that clear.
in my mind, it would be at the end of their, whatever, the end of the 2-week period is. Like when
Okay.
they've extinguished, yeah, whenever they've extinguished the 2 weeks in whatever format they take it, we'd start the clock over again.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Anything else, Andrew?
No, I think one of the things I had underlined just for clarification, and again, maybe we already illustrated this, but the reason we had a lot of discussion around whether they're required to be here for 12 months or not. And one of the reasoning that we kept that in there was we want this for retention and recruitment purposes. We don't want somebody, necessarily to take it and leave and be still within a year. So we had a lot of discussion around that specific piece of it. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Is that also in line with the FMLA rules, or can that be any time?
No, FMLA requires that you've worked one consecutive year.
Because we're trying to adhere to that as well.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
and we also had, she didn't touch on this, and maybe you will, the procedure of going into it, but we talked about who should sign off, how that goes. And I think we landed in a good spot where everybody who needs to know, but also respecting people's privacy if they want to hold it private, that situation. And hopefully, it doesn't create too much paperwork. I think it'll be a relatively simple form that they sign and can pass around type of thing. And then I guess the other thing, kind of just to back up, that I wanted to talk about was we had conversation of, do we allow people to take part-time, or do we want them to do it in chunks? And we figured to do it in chunks so that it wouldn't be too troubling to the department that they're in to figure out who might need to replace a certain thing. So you're looking at just a block instead of, well, we have to replace somebody for, the afternoons of a 2-week period or something of that
Yeah, I think
sort.
there's some departments
this
that it
is
could be
good.
pretty problematic.
Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to clarify those 2 points,
Okay.
or 3.
Okay.
So in terms of next steps, the intent would be we would bring this back to the Personnel and Finance Committee for a brief overview again when we have a full committee, hopefully at the next meeting. Then it would be on the docket for first reading on April 15th,
Okay.
and then tentatively on for second reading on the first meeting of May.
Okay, and you will include those, something about when they can take effect, when the 1-year clock starts again. You'll make that change. Okay. And that's the only thing we really had, right?
Right.
Today, okay. Okay, so anything else? All right, well, thank you all
Yeah.
for,
Yeah, thanks,
Good work on
Leah,
this.
for all your work
Yep.
and everything. And Brian.
this was the easy one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, acceptance of the general fund accounts payable checks dated March 14th to the 28th, 2019.
Yeah. So there's not a lot, there's a lot of checks, but nothing really out of the ordinary. But if you kind of go on based on the top page numbers, page 3, Embury LTD, workroom cabinets. This was part of the library, as part of their approved 2019 capital. Page 4, Kilgust, over at the City Hall. There's some heat repair. We had the heating repair that had to be done. So it's equivalent to about, $2,200, $2,100 after everything was said and done for that. Page 5, Quick Trip is just our fuel cost. We use 2 fuel Quick Trip, and then down further is Landmark Services. So we use 2 of different vendors for that, both local vendors. Page 6 and page 7 is all our credit card payments for the month.
Quickly, Mark, page 6, there's the Maggie B. Are we concluded with the communication study, or is she still doing a few things, or?
Yeah, so we are just about concluded with the original contract piece, all those items. Actually, for the next council meeting, April 15th, we will have an agenda item for her to give a presentation on the communication study to the full council. And then separate from that, as staff works with Civic Plus on the website redesign, we will likely come back to the council for a small budget amendment to basically buy a little bit of her time to review the website when it's in draft format later this fall.
Okay.
So, but once she concludes her presentation on the 15th, the majority of her contracted work from the 2018 contract will have been completed.
Okay, thanks. And then, sorry, page 7, and maybe you haven't gotten there yet. So the MESBA Monona Area Guide, is that part of the tourism money, or, because I know we gave it to
This
not
is
the
not part
guide,
of
I
the
feel?
tourism money. We
What?
did give them extra. This won't be part of the tourism.
Oh, so this is above and beyond.
We
This was-
decided to-
This was to buy, so in the new guide, we bought I think it was a 3rd or maybe quarter page ad, just to have, I know we have all of the kind of general city data and information that's in there, but also just buy an ad, just to kind of highlight a couple of key messages about the city.
Because typically, when we've given them the 10,000 for the ad before, we
We
had a
get
full
that.
page ad.
Gotcha,
But so
gotcha.
we weren't going to have any. So we decided to, and they had a few slides. So.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Page 12.
Actually, Mark, I've got something on page 10. The Walmart Ellen Johnston restitution, I'm just curious what that,
It's a basically we collect money for restitution, and we have to pay it to Walmart.
oh,
This is
so
a court-
they
it's
pay it
court-
to us and then we,
Yeah, it's part of their
Okay.
court
okay, just curious.
commitment. Page 12, Four Lakes Yacht Club. I just want to know, these are both actually void now. The first one and the second one was written wrong, they had to revoid it. And then the other one is void too.
Is that why there's a 3rd one later on?
There's a third
I
one later
wondered
on.
whether- I didn't realize there were 2 initial ones that were.
Well, one was, that was a mistake on our end when we had to put it, they had something was wrong on the actual check. I think we put LLC in that
Oh,
ink. I don't know exactly what it was, but we had to
then
void
the
it.
other one's the one the attorney returned, right?
Right, the other one's the attorney returned, and we issued that one later on.
Okay.
Page 13, advanced disposal. Bringing this up, this is our monthly service for, garbage and recycling. We are starting to have an issue right now with our rebate. As you can see, if you look in there, like number 5 down, if you go by the numbers, number 5 down on both of them. Our rebate number is coming under budget. Just looking at that, and we're probably going to be a good $20,000 short at the end of the year with that.
Is that due to this issue internationally of the Chinese not taking the,
It has to do with a lot of that has to
recycling
do with the papers not being
Okay.
taken right now, so we're getting 0 reimbursement for it.
what are they doing with it? Do we know?
From talking to Dan, there's,
Okay. Oh, okay, okay.
so that'll be something we'll have to look at there in the 2020 budget, adjusting that number. Page 13, kind of down, as you can see, this is some invoices for Bill Cole, Alex Burleson. Actually, this is an invoice. It looks like it was a late invoice from August for some reason. So that's what that actually relates to. So if you can notice what they're working on at that time. Page 16,
I had a
LW.
question about 14.
Sure.
The Clean Lakes Alliance, I thought that membership breakfast fee was 1,000. This said 900.
We just paid whatever we got from the mailed invoice.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Maybe they've just changed it, I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay.
Page 16, LW Allen. Just in general, when we got repairs, stuff that adds up, this is a pump repair for the sewer department. And that's, I believe, page 22, so you do see the eminent domain. That's their lawyer for the yacht club. Page 23, accurate appraisal, I just want to mention this, 25,000, or this is 25,000 of the $42,000 contract. This is the last year of the contracts. We'll have to look into going off for bids for this and see what we're going to do for the next cycle.
Okay.
Do we know if this year they're actually reassessing businesses?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly sure what location. I know Joan has those. I didn't
Okay.
talk to her, but I don't know.
Okay.
I can talk to Joan and see.
After our experience with Walmart, I'd like to know.
Yeah, so where they're at.
Mark, if it just kind of on that item, so I'm working on a draft of the RFP for the appraisal services. I guess the question for the committee is when, timing-wise, when would you want that to come before the committee and get that out in the marketplace?
Well, I suppose we want to know by budget time what kind of money we're talking about, so. When have we done it in the past, remember?
Probably June, July, probably, because they, with their timings and stuff like that, I think. they-
It'll be ready well before then, but.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I had a question on 24.
Go ahead.
Or are you past?
No, go ahead.
And I'm sure this is every month. Dane County Highway Department, what do we pay for, it says February services. Do we pay for them plowing Monona Drive or what? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So what's then, I can't find it here, but I know I've seen other salt-related expenses. What is that salt compared to this salt?
We went through our allocations with the state contract, so we had to buy additional salt. We went through the county on that.
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks.
So page 26, just kind of hitting on GEC Engineering Company, as these costs are winding down. As you can see, when they first started the planning services, were around $7,000, $8,000 per month, and now they're $812. It's been a slower time the last couple of months here, so they actually had to do as many office hours, so that's really cut down on the expenses there.
So that's added to the fund balance then?
Yes, this will come an issue here in the next couple meetings when we talk about some other areas that we're looking at, because there will be some savings from this, so.
Okay.
Again, some, underneath that, again, Kilgust, these repairs to these buildings, they are small, but they do add up. $1,300 for boiler repair at City Hall. And on page 29, North Central ambulance, this was actually approved in the 2018 budget. I think it took like a year to build. There was some hiccups along the way. Took a little bit longer than they thought. It's finally in, and I believe it's in service now. We did sell, as you know, there was a backup ambulance prior to getting this one. We just recently sold that to the town of Madison for $10,000.
Okay.
So no longer have that one. Page 30, just kind of hitting on where we're at with the Strand. As you can see, they're finishing up a lot of work. Inland boats, that's part of the riverfront. Atwood, Route 64, the bike ped, riverfront.
So is the inland boat piece separate from where the park is, or?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Dan, if you want to explain exactly what that inland boat, 'cause I know- inland boat that Strand's been working on for us, that
I was just asking, so that we have 2 line items for inland boat works site, and he was saying it's riverfront, and then we have another riverfront, excuse me, piece in there as well.
Well, are you talking as far as site investigation?
Yeah, that's the one,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's, as part of that whole project, there's some groundwater wells that had to be put in for DNR requirements. There was some contamination from inland boat works from years ago.
Oh, okay.
We were expecting to close it out, send in the report. DNR notified us that we had to continue with one of the wells. So recent paperwork, we've had to install another well,
Oh.
re-sign Strand for some mineral administration. So that's as far as what we have going on right now with
Gotcha.
site investigation.
Thanks.
And then page 32, just kind of get hitting on the couple things. The Beerbacker Associates site plan reviews. This is more they do reviews as far as they bill us and we bill whoever the applicant is. A lot of it relates to planning commission work, planning work, and then we just bill the applicant. So it's kind of things they're working on, and then just kind of hit the Village of Cottage Grove, McFarland's. We work with them for traffic grants. We get the grant money, then we pay their share over to each different municipality. And that's all I have.
Okay. Any further questions? Is there a motion to accept the bills?
Move to approve.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.